This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil prices inched higher on Tuesday, supported by new tariff exemptions floated by U.S. President Donald Trump and a rebound in China crude oil imports in anticipation of tighter Iranian supply. Brent crude futures gained 25 cents, or 0.4%, to $65.13 per barrel by 0630 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 28 cents, or 0.5%, to $61.81. Trump granted exemptions on electronic tariffs and signaled an auto tariff relief, both of which are seen as setbacks from the previously announced import levies, hence, providing some relief to risk assets, including oil, said independent market analyst Tina Teng.
Russia, the world's second biggest oil exporter and the second largest natural gas producer, sees stable crude production and significant growth in natural gas production and exports over the next quarter century, according to its new energy strategy. Russia's pipeline gas exports to Europe, once its main trading partner, collapsed following the 2022 invasion of Ukraine, though Russian crude exports have continued to world markets. According to Russia's new energy strategy published by the government on Monday, Russia targets natural gas exports, including seaborne liquefied natural gas, LNG, and supplies via pipelines, at 293 billion cubic meters, BCM, in 2030, up from 146 BCM in 2023.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
The International Energy Agency, IEA, on Tuesday sharply cut its forecast for the growth in global oil demand this year due to escalating trade tensions, a day after a similar move by producer group OPEC. The deteriorating outlook for the global economy amid the sudden sharp escalation in trade tensions in early April has prompted a downgrade to our forecast for oil demand growth this year, the IEA, which advises industrialized countries, said in a monthly report. Growth is expected to slow further in 2026, to 690,000 barrels of oil per day, as lower oil prices only partly offset the weaker economic environment.
Kazakhstan's oil output fell in the first 2 weeks of April from the March average, but is still above the OPEC Plus quota it has pledged to meet after months of overproduction, an industry source told Reuters. The Central Asian country's crude production, excluding gas condensate, was down 3% in April 1-13 from the March average at about 1.82 million barrels per day due to a decrease at the Chevron-led Tengiz field, the source said, speaking on condition of anonymity due to the sensitivity of the matter. Kazakhstan, a top-10 oil producer, has persistently exceeded quotas set by OPEC+, leading to complaints from other members of the group. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices rose on Tuesday amid continued uncertainty over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff plans and their impact on the global economy. Spot gold was up 0.5% to $3,226.24 an ounce, as of 0651 GMT, not far from Monday's record high of $3,245.42. U.S. gold futures rose 0.5% to $3,242.50. Gold continues to firm today, on ongoing investors' demand for defensive assets to mitigate portfolio volatility as the U.S. seems to be setting the stage for more tariffs to come, IG market strategist Yip Junrong said.
Shanghai copper edged higher on Tuesday, aided by expectations of a pause on auto tariffs and optimism that top consumer China will launch additional stimulus to bolster economic growth. The most traded copper contract on the Shanghai Futures Exchange has risen by 0.2% to 75,970 yuan, $10,394.03 per ton as of 0628 GMT. The benchmark 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange was steady at $9,182 a metric ton. In the previous session, the contract hit its highest level since April 4.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
France's Farm Ministry on Tuesday raised its estimate of the area sown with winter soft wheat for the 2025 harvest to 4.61 million hectares from 4.57 million estimated in February. The total soft wheat area, including a small spring wheat area, is seen at 4.63 million hectares, up 10% from 2024, and 1.1% above the 5-year average, the ministry said in a statement. In an initial forecast, the ministry estimated France's sugar beet area for this year's harvest at 391,000 hectares, down from 412,000 hectares in 2024 and 2.9% below the 5-year average.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.